Hello. Today I want to talk to you about something that isn't often understood deeply enough. OCD, or obsessive compulsive disorder. And if you're hearing this word for the first time, or think of it only as being extra clean, or being afraid of germs, I want to stop you right here. It's so much deeper, so much heavier, and so much more complicated than that. OCD is not about neatness. It's not about being organized. It's not about being a perfectionist. It's an illness that can distort your reality, trap your mind, and turn simple everyday actions into overwhelming battles. For me, OCD didn't come as a personality quirk or a temporary wave of anxiety. It became something that, at one point, took over my entire life. My energy, my sense of control, my ability to feel like a normal human being. It seeped into every corner of my day, into every decision, into every breath, and for a long time I stayed silent. I felt ashamed, embarrassed, convinced that I should hide it and pretend that it's not that bad. And that silence, I think, is something a lot of people with OCD know too well. My biggest struggle is intrusive thoughts and compulsive actions that feel mandatory, even when I logically understand they don't make sense. Take something as ordinary as washing hands. For most people, it's a minute-long routine. For me, it became a ritual that could consume half a day. After using the bathroom, I could spend 20 minutes washing my hands. If it was more than that, easily 40 minutes. And not because I want to be clean, not because I enjoy it, but because my brain screams, "You didn't do it right. You missed something. You're not safe yet." And even when my hands were burning, cracked, painfully dry, I still kept going, because fear felt stronger than logic. These days, one complete hand-washing cycle can take up to 6 hours. 6 hours out of a day. 6 hours that someone else might spend working, resting, living, and me? I spend them fighting my own mind. Sometimes in the winter, it stretched into 7 hours. My hands got so damaged they bled, but my brain kept pushing, "You're not done." Alongside OCD, I developed severe health anxiety, the kind where every little physical sensation feels like a death sentence. I was convinced I had a terminal illness doctors somehow kept missing. A new ache, a tight breath, a random headache. Everything became a sign of disaster, and the more anxious I felt, the stronger my OCD got. The stronger OCD got, the worse my health fears became. A closed loop that fed on itself. Sleep became a luxury. Sometimes I didn't sleep at all. I lived in a constant state of dread. My depression deepened to the point where even basic things, eating, stepping outside, having a short conversation, felt pointless. I cried a lot, sometimes because I was exhausted, sometimes because I felt hopeless, and sometimes for no reason at all. People around me began noticing my rituals. Not everyone reacted kindly. Some were confused, some laughed, some made comments they thought were harmless jokes. I remember one moment painfully clearly. Someone saw me washing my hands in a compulsive way and decided it would be funny to wipe their hands on me just to see my reaction. It was a joke to them. To me, it was like the floor dropped out from under me. But the truth is, my symptoms didn't begin in adulthood. They started much earlier. Even as a kid, I had strange rituals I couldn't explain. I would write certain words on a piece of paper and then feel an overwhelming urge to burn that paper, like something terrible would happen if I didn't. Back then, I thought it was just a quirky game. Now I know, that was the first spark of OCD, and maybe it's no coincidence. Anxiety runs in my family, and genetics plays a role in this disorder. Things got more intense in my early teens. Around 13, I started doing certain actions repeatedly, thinking they were just habits. Might. But by 16, it escalated fast. I was prescribed strong medications for unrelated health issues, and the side effects were awful. They triggered massive panic attacks, the kind that make you fear stepping outside your home. I remember being terrified to walk through my own apartment building. Even a short walk felt like a threat. My first full-blown panic attack happened on public transit. My heart pounding, my breathing tight, convinced I was dying. There's no way to fully describe the terror unless you've lived it. Over time, OCD became so overpowering that I stopped existing outside my rituals. When I was washing my hands, everything else disappeared. Time, place, responsibilities. The world narrowed down to that one compulsive action. And when I finally stepped out of the bathroom, hours later, I felt empty, drained to the point of numbness. Before, rituals gave me at least a few seconds of relief, but eventually, even that disappeared. All that remained was exhaustion. One of the hardest parts of OCD is the belief that if you don't complete a ritual exactly right, the rest of your day is doomed. Your brain convinces you that you won't be able to work, relax, sleep, function, unless the ritual is perfect. And if it isn't, the anxiety gnaws at you relentlessly. Sometimes I barely leave my home for weeks. Going to a grocery store feels like a challenge. A mall feels impossible. Meeting a friend becomes a disaster of racing thoughts. What if I'm not clean enough? What if something's wrong? And the ritual begins again. I also have strict checking behaviors, like wiping parts of my body in a very specific sequence, and it gets especially overwhelming during certain days of the menstrual cycle when everything feels more intense. These routines can take half an hour or more, and they drain me emotionally and physically. I've had medical checkups, and physically I'm fine. But mentally, sometimes your own brain can be the harshest enemy. It's terrifying to think I might one day run out of strength, lose my stability, or struggle to work. Severe OCD can make holding a job incredibly difficult. And in the U.S., getting disability benefits for mental health conditions like OCD is a long, complicated, and often discouraging process. This is the first chapter of my story, my reality, my fight. And somehow, this is only the beginning. Right now, I'm in treatment, and I want to be completely honest about it. Getting better isn't a straight line. It's not like you wake up each day feeling a little stronger than the last. It's more like climbing a staircase where every few steps you slip, fall back, and have to climb again. My psychiatrist and I are still adjusting medication, and that process is so much harder than it looks from the outside. Sometimes the meds don't work. Sometimes the side effects are unbearable. Sometimes you feel like you're making progress, only to crash back down the next day, but I keep going. Because deep down, I know there is another way to live, and I want that life. One thing people absolutely need to understand is this. OCD is not a personality trait. It's not a quirk. It's not something you can push through with willpower. OCD is a disorder rooted in how the brain handles anxiety, in how neural circuits fire, in how certain chemicals miscommunicate. You cannot just relax your way out of it. You cannot out-stubborn it. If it worked like that, millions of people in the U.S. wouldn't be silently suffering. The truth is, the OCD brain misinterprets danger. It sets off alarms where none exist. It freezes, loops, and sends false signals telling you that something terrible will happen unless you perform a specific ritual. And the more you repeat that ritual, the more deeply it ingrains itself into your brain, until it becomes a chain wrapped around your entire life. For years, I didn't realize what was happening. I thought, yeah, I wash my hands a certain way, or I guess I'm just extra cautious. But being cautious is a choice. OCD strips away choice. OCD tells you what to fear, how to behave, what to check, what to avoid. You don't do things because you want to. You do them because the alternative feels intolerably terrifying. One of the most important realizations I've had is that you cannot deal with OCD alone. You cannot stay silent. You cannot hide and hope it gets better on its own. OCD isn't like catching a cold. It doesn't go away because you tough it out. You need help. You need therapy. You need a professional who understands this disorder. Asking for help isn't weakness. It's bravery. It's survival. And the moment I finally opened up, I discovered something that shocked me. There were so many people around me struggling with the exact same thing. Most of them had never said a word. They were afraid of being judged, misunderstood, dismissed. Many Americans with OCD live in complete silence, quietly managing rituals, hiding panic attacks, covering up intrusive thoughts. Some fear losing their jobs, some fear losing relationships, some fear being labeled crazy, and some don't even realize they have OCD. They just think they're broken, but they're not. I'm not. You're not. Right now, I'm reading a lot about how compulsions form. I'm working with specialists. I'm learning to practice ERP, exposure and response prevention, one of the most effective treatments for OCD. It teaches your brain to live without rituals, to tolerate anxiety instead of obeying it. The first attempts feel impossible. It feels like your body is shutting down, like something terrible is about to happen. But if you resist the ritual and sit with the discomfort, nothing happens. Nothing bad, I mean. And slowly, your brain learns that the fear was lying. ERP is slow, painful, frustrating, but it works. And every time my therapist reminds me that remission is possible, I choose to believe them a little more. I'm beginning to trust the process, to notice tiny improvements, even if they don't last long. Another huge realization. I don't have to suffer quietly. I have the right to speak about what I'm going through. I have the right to advocate for myself. I have the right to explain OCD to others and to ask for understanding instead of hiding in shame. I want to speak up because so many people in the U.S. go through this alone. Some are terrified of losing their income. Some fear judgment. Some think they're crazy. Some have no idea what's happening in their own minds. I want them to know they're not crazy. They're not weak. They're not defective. They're experiencing a legitimate, treatable illness. Yes, OCD can tear your life apart. It can damage relationships, isolate you from the world, consume your energy, and turn daily tasks into mountains. But recovery, real recovery, is possible. Slowly, gradually, and with a lot of support. But it is possible. I want to believe in my healing. I want to learn to live without constant anxiety. I want to stop being afraid of my own thoughts. I want to reclaim the hours that OCD steals from me. I want to be able to go for a walk, meet a friend, laugh freely, feel spontaneous again. I want my life back, and I believe I can get it. Maybe not tomorrow, maybe not next month, but one day, because I'm already moving forward. And each step, no matter how small, is a victory. And if you're watching this and recognizing yourself, please hear me. You're not alone. This doesn't make you weak. It doesn't make you bad. It simply means you need help, and you deserve that help. OCD does not define your worth. It doesn't make you broken. It makes you a human being fighting a very difficult battle, and that alone proves how strong you are. The road may be long, it may be painful, it may test you over and over again. But the most important thing you can do is keep going. Speak up, reach out, share, seek support. And remember, even in the darkest periods of life, there is always a chance for light. That light exists. It's out there. It's waiting. And if you're fighting OCD, you deserve that light just as much as anyone else. Thank you for listening. And if you can, take one small step today, no matter how small. It counts.